Well, I have a memory that I'd like to share about my father. I only see my father cry twice. Was when my sister actually lost her dog, and this was like the most life-shattering, worst thing that's ever happened to her. And she was just bawling, and we couldn't find the dog. The dog was gone for several days. And my father, the strongest person that I know, the person that you never see show emotion, essentially just broke down and started crying. It's one of my fondest memories of my father, and it's one that I try to aspire to live up to. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Dad.
There's a scripture in Isaiah that says, a generous man plans his generosity, and by his generosity he stands. Whenever I read that scripture, I always think of my dad. My dad is just a generous man with his finances, with the blessings that he's been given from God. I see him plan his generosity. I see him bless his church. I see him bless his family. I see him bless missions. And I just hope and pray that I will be a man who plans my generosity and plans to generously bless others. And so whenever I think of that scripture, I think of my dad. I think of just his generous heart. That heart's covered up sometimes by his persona and his character, but the generosity just shines through. So thank you, Dad, for teaching me that.
You're awesome, Daddy.
Okay, I would have to say the memory of my father that I would remember the most is when we were growing up, whenever we'd have campfires or have a fire, for whatever reason, it became my father's story time. And so he would tell us all the stories of the crazy things he did when he grew up, and then explain to us why we should do those things as well. He was an ambulance driver at one point. He grew up in a real small town in America, and the guy could do just about anything. Taught himself how to do stuff, grew up without a dad, and just, pretty much manned up and became the man that he is today.
Dad rocks.
Those of you who have had the chance to meet my dad, you know that he's unconventional and not traditional, but I've grown up with him and my brother, so I've been in the guidance of males, and I understand how amazing they are, and I'm so thankful for my father. And he has pretty much been the one person who has built me into the kind of woman that I am today. So I just want to say thanks to the dads who are pretty much single parents also, and he's been amazing, and I just thank God for him every day.
Dad is our superhero!
So, what do I think of when I think of my dad? My dad has been one of those stoic Chinese fathers, but he taught me a lot about integrity and how to be a man of your word. But he also had this quirky, funny side to him as well. I remember our family when my wife and I were just starting to get early marriage, and she was just getting to know him, and he was always so serious. And so we're in line, and there are these pillars that had these figures drawn into them. And my dad had this serious face, just put his face right next to it and stuck his finger up the nose. And my wife just died laughing. And from that point on, they really connected as well. So that's my dad. I love him. He's a bit stoic, serious at times, but quirky, and I think I've grown up to be a lot like him. I'm proud of him.
My dad could beat up your dad.